That's crazy. Hi, I'm Mike. The year is 1980, and you're a young racing driver with the dreams of becoming the best. You've spent years dominating karting, and you think you're ready for the next step. IndyCar is picking up speed in the Americas. Or you could try your hand at Le Mans in France. But some people think you're cut out for Formula One, the fastest and most popular racing series in the world. With so many options, where do you go? Think again, comrade. You're Hungarian. Mom says you can't play with the Western toys. So, how do you race? Never heard of it? It's a new, unique, quirky little racing series coming out of the Eastern Bloc during the Cold War. Formula Easter may have not had the glamour of F1, but had something special: heart, ingenuity, and a dash of political intrigue. In this video, we're going to take a base level look at Formula Easter and its short but exciting life in the world of racing. Quick note. The whole reason we started doing this video is because on the Formula Easter Wikipedia page, there are only 2 citations and none of them can be found online. So take everything that you see on the wiki with a grain of salt. Formula Easter was more of a garage project than a proper constructor series. In the 1970s, living under Soviet regime, the people of the Eastern Bloc wanted something more. They wanted to build and race their own single-seaters. Something better and faster than the minor leagues that they had before. But the Eastern Bloc was just cut off by the West economically. So the rules stated they could only get parts from members of Comecon. Not that Comicon. Comecon was the Council for Mutual Economic Assistance. It was founded to build economic strength between the communist bloc and the socialist states around the world. But the explosion of Western technology and engineering was completely off limits. Soon, Formula Easter was racing in its own championship. Can you guess what they called it? Whatever you guessed, completely wrong. Someone must have hired somebody from Nintendo because they called it the Cup of Peace and Friendship. It wasn't exactly FIA sanctioned, but it definitely caught the eye of European officials by the 80s. All Formula Easter cars had to run at 1300 cc, which means a lot of them opted for the Lada 1300, which ran at an impressive 750 horsepower.
I think it was 75.
75? No, really? Huh. Well, if it was tuned right, it could easily hit over 100 horsepower, which isn't dissimilar to a lot of F1 cars that were using mostly Ford-based engines. But a lot of those guys could hit well over 500 horsepower. So if you were watching a Formula Easter race, it was kind of like F1, but minus the speed. But what made Formula Easter even more charming was that many of its parts weren't custom made. They were adapted from regular cars of the era. Teams got creative and often sourced the suspension from East German Barkas minivans. And even tires had to be of socialist origin, unlike this hunk of shit. And finding a consistent supply on this side of the world was pretty difficult. Some say teams had to use a single set of tires for an entire season due to rubber scarcity, but I couldn't find any reliable sources to back that up. Teams also proudly showcased their national identity by using parts and engines from their home countries. For instance, Polish teams went for the Polski Fiat engines, while Romanian teams used the Daka parts. Czechoslovakian teams used the Skoda engines, while the East Germans used Wartburg parts. It was like a precursor to the national pride in modern Formula One, where you see teams like Audi seeking German drivers, and Alpine preferring French parts and French drivers. I heard a claim that the Polish Pope John Paul II was such a fan of racing that he purchased the Polish team's helmets just to keep them funded. Now, I couldn't find a citation for that because the only person that said that was Jeremy Clarkson of the Grand Tour, but you know, he's pretty reliable. After years of unrest and unsuccessful revolution, in 1985, a game changer arrived in Mikhail Gorbachev's glasnost policy, or openness policy, which opened the doors of the Soviet world to the West economically. As a result, the 1986 Hungarian Grand Prix became the first ever Formula One race held behind the Iron Curtain. Within 5 years, the Eastern Bloc was undergoing complete political transformation. Communism was on its way out. and Formula Easter, specifically the cup of peace and friendship, was officially dissolved.
Da muss man natürlich die Triebwerke schonen. Wo ist Bernd Kasper geblieben? Hier sehe ich
Formula Easter was more than just a racing series. It was a testament to the spirit of the people of the Eastern Bloc in a time of isolation and political upheaval. It was an ode to resourcefulness, innovation, and above all, the love of racing. While it may have faded into obscurity with the fall of communism, Formula Easter's legacy still endures, showing us that even the most unconventional journeys can leave us with the most lasting impressions. Can I call my family now?